Hey guys, hey, I'm back from my hiatus. I took a little bit of time off because I'm starting a new job and I'm going to be teaching mathematics at the college level. And then, I just needed some time away. I wanted you guys to really catch up on my videos. And, I'd been putting out a lot of videos and stuff, and I noticed that people weren't watching. And I looked today and you guys are watching. So I thought I'd put out a little bit more content. And the one thing, and I've been doing a lot of thinking, right? I mean, just life happens and things happen, and what really came to mind lately was being different, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. I've always been that guy that's been different, and when I was in elementary school, when I was in junior high, high school, I was always really different. I was different from everybody. I always thought very differently. I was just that guy that was just kind of, I was there, but I was like, I don't know how to explain it. I was like an outlier. I was there and I was with the other kids in the group, right? Junior high, high school, all that kind of thing, right? But I never could really find my place in any of those atmospheres, right? I mean, like when I was in elementary school, I would just always kind of like moving through elementary school and, just kind of going with the flow, you know what I mean? And same with junior high. I had a lot of friends in junior high, and a lot of those guys are still my friends to this day. But, and I found my spot a little bit better there because that's when I started playing a lot of sports. And then in high school, I would hang out with the sports guys, but I never really felt like I was part of them. I don't know if that makes sense, right? And everywhere I go, even as an adult, at work, whatever the case may be, even where I go, I always am extremely different from everybody. Like I could be in a room full of people and I would be that guy that's completely different, that thinks out of the box, that asks the off the wall questions that make you kind of think. And I think of life in really a different way. And that's always happened to me. For a long time I always thought something was wrong with me, man. I was like, dude, something, maybe, and I was always afraid to like go and ask somebody, you know what I mean? Because I was like, because I had two uncles that were mentally challenged, right? Mentally handicapped. And, I was scared. I thought maybe I was going to be kind of like that, right? And, it always made me nervous, and the things, the reason why I knew I wasn't mentally challenged was because mathematics and science always came really easy to me, and I always did really well without really having to study in those areas. But English, reading, social studies, all that kind of shit was always a challenge for me. But why it was a challenge for me? Because I was bored. It just used to bore the shit out of me, right? Now I'm paying attention to a lot more of the political aspect. Now I understand the judicial, executive, all the branches of government, and, I understand that shit now, checks and balances, all that kind of stuff. I never really understood that in school because it bored the shit out of me. Right? If it wasn't a math problem or a science problem, I didn't give a shit about it, right? So that was always like one of those things, so when it came to reading, I remember graduating from high school, okay? It's 12th grade. I had a 10th grade reading level because I was horrible at reading, right? But I could do math like nobody's business and not even study for it. In fact, I used to tutor all the older people. I remember when I was in when I was a freshman in high school, man, I was tutoring, I was tutoring seniors, you know what I mean? Because they were all in my class, so I was that advanced, And then I remember when testing into Pima and the JC and the college, I tested pretty high, I tested in the calculus and shit. So it was one of those things that, I knew I wasn't, I don't like to use the word retarded, but I knew I wasn't mentally challenged like my uncles, but I knew I didn't think I was the smartest guy either. You know what I mean? And so I went through school, and I got 6 degrees, right? I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just telling you guys because I wanted to help you guys. I really want you guys to figure it out on your own too. Figure out what I figured out, and I have 2 in public administration, and then an MBA, and then a minor in mathematics, a minor in computer engineering, and then a bachelor's in electrical engineering. So those are my degrees. And I mean, when I really noticed how different I was when I got into engineering. Because, I was in marketing before, and marketing, I knew I was different there too, because I was not a salesman. I was not a marketing guy. I wasn't flamboyant. I didn't like that shit. And, my sales pitch was, do you want to buy it? They said no. And I'm like, all right, I'm out. You know what I mean? That's just as far as I go. I'm just not that guy, right? There are guys that can sell ice to Eskimos, and I know a couple of them, man, really good at it. And I just don't know how they do that, man. I really don't. So when I really noticed that I was different, when I got into engineering. I was like, I remember graduating with my engineering degree, and man, I went to go work for a large corporation, and I was intimidated, man. I got in there, and I was just like, wow, And part of it was they didn't know how to explain shit, so I thought I was a little bit mentally handicapped, you know what I mean? So that was part of it. Then my boss moved me into like a project engineer role where you actually run projects and you're in charge, right? Well, come to find out, that's where I felt the most comfortable. And come to find out, that's where I started thinking outside of the box. I always understood engineering. That's the easy part. The hard part is working with people and getting them to do something that you need them to do in the time that you need them to do it. You know what I mean? So that takes a little bit of charisma. That takes a little bit of, trust. Takes a little bit of knowledge, and at that job, if you didn't have the knowledge, boy, you would lose credibility. Your credibility would fall, and nobody would work for you. They would treat you like an outcast. So I had to learn pretty quick, And luckily I did, man. They threw me in the ocean. I was swimming with the sharks, but man, I was swimming a lot faster than fucking sharks, let me tell you. You know what I mean? Because I had it up here, and I didn't realize that, And that was part of it, right? I was not confident in myself. I didn't realize my potential and what I had until later on in life. Even then, I didn't really realize it. I just did. It was almost like treading water. I mean, I was just there, and I was swimming with the sharks, and I was swimming faster than the sharks, but I didn't find my vibe yet, right? And then next thing I know, I left that company. I went to a really small company that was really immature in a lot of ways, right? It was very immature in its practices, didn't have anything to follow or anything. And so I created everything for that position based on what I learned at my previous company. But I did it my way. And my boss didn't care. He just said, okay, here's the objective. Here's the ball. Now run with it. I'm telling you right now, man, I ran like Forrest Gump. I mean, I was running. And you know what? I did it my way, and it turned out to be the best way. I found out at that particular time that I was not a conformist. I don't like to conform to the way people do things, right? At the corporation job, I was always asking, getting into trouble because I was always asking, why are you doing it this way? I don't understand that. Why don't you do it this way? You know, and I'd always figure out my own way of doing it. It was always intuitive for me. You know what I mean? And I would always get in trouble for that, man. You know, like even on some of my reviews, they would say, you know, he asks too many questions. He questions authority. He does this and does that. Well, I questioned authority because you guys are fucking idiots, right? Is what I found out. Well, when I got into my job where it was a blank canvas and my boss just let me do whatever the fuck I want, I did everything right, you know, and it was all based on lessons learned from that job. So I thank God for having that job. You know, everything's a building block, right? So having that job really made me excel at this job, right, that I was at. And now I'm back in the corporate world. I'm back in a large corporation, and I didn't want to get back into that, right? But see, the thing is, I'm not a conformist. And the reason why I didn't get like a VP job or a GM job is because I wasn't a conformist. I don't kiss anybody's ass. I don't kiss ass. I don't conform to the way you want me to do things. I do things the way I want to fucking do them, right? And the people who make it to the top, I gotta say, they're conformists. You know what I mean? They sell their souls to the devil because they want to get up to that position, and I just don't do that. I don't sell my soul. I stay real to myself, and that's all there is to it. But I do things right, you know? So when I was at this job that I am now, okay, I work for a government contractor. You know, I worked one program where they just let me do my thing, and I was very successful at it. Then I moved to another position where they wanted me to conform, and I didn't get good reviews, you know, because I wouldn't conform. I did things my way. And now I jumped to another program, and they just gave me the objective and gave me the ball and let me run with it. And now my reviews are fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. I'm just not one of those guys that can conform. Just give me the ball, let me run with it, and I'll run. You know? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I'm talking about. The problem with corporate America is that they don't give you the ball and let you run with it. You know, what I found in the corporate world is that, you know, I got almost 20 years of experience in what I've been doing, right? I was a program manager. I was a project engineer. I've been, you know, spinning boards. I've been doing mixed signal design for years, right? But then I get into a position and they treat me like I was born yesterday. You know, I mean, that's been my life. Just to give me the objective and I'll get there. That's all. That's all you got to do with me. You know what I mean? But so many people in the world are those kind of people where you have to give them step-by-step instructions. And I'm just not one of those guys. I've never been one of those guys. And same thing in dating, right? And I think I talked to you a little bit about this, you know, the red pill versus the blue pill, right? You know, everybody wanted me to conform to the narrative of being a blue pill guy, right? Everybody wanted me to get married, have kids, and, you know, and go this direction. And I was always kind of going this direction. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. It didn't make sense to me because I saw all of my friends give up their lives to conform to the woman, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, guys, okay? But, you know, a man needs to be a man, not a bitch. You know what I mean? And you know, all you women out there that may listen to me or whatever, you know what I mean? This is where we kind of part our ways, right? And let me kind of explain. I'm not saying that a guy's a bitch because he listens to a woman. I think a woman should be a woman. It's about polarity. Let me put it that way, okay? A woman should be a woman, and she should feel comfortable in her womanhood, if you will, right? And a man should be a man and be comfortable in their manlyhood. Okay? And then they should have their own lives. Each individual should have their own lives. Then you should come together and enjoy the life together. He should introduce things to her and she should introduce things to him. And then they decide what they want to do together, right? And then there's their own time where they go off and they do, you know, things on their own. Then they come together, they talk about it, they share their experiences, and it typically brings them closer together, right? Well, what I've noticed is that, okay, a woman and a man have their own lives when they're dating. Then when they get into a relationship, the woman's life overtakes the man. So what I mean by that is, like, the man gives up everything, his entire fucking life, to conform to the woman. And they lose themselves. They lose their manlyhood. They lose who they were, who that woman fell in love with, right? And you can't do that, guys. You can't do that. And to me, that's what relationships were. I saw my dad do it. I saw my friends' dads do it. I saw all of my friends do it. You know, I mean, they would get into a relationship and they would fucking disappear. Then I started doing it because I thought that's what you needed to do. And I didn't like that feeling. It never made sense to me when they did it. But here I am doing it. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But I would get ridiculed if I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that was the narrative. But what I found out later on in life, and when I found out about the red pill, when I got introduced to Corey Wayne and a little bit of the red pill philosophy, right, is that what he taught me and what the red pill community has taught me is that I really wanted to go this way. You know, it's not that I didn't want to get married or I didn't want to have kids. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to get married. But I just didn't want to sell my soul to do it. You know, I wanted to have that relationship where we both had our relationship. We came together and we created a relationship. And that's the way it was with my ex-fiance. She had her life, I had mine. And then she decided to join my world and my life. And then she brought all of her things to that life, to my frame, if you will, right? That's the word that a lot of red pillars use, to my frame. And I stayed in my frame and I would hold my ground in a lot of aspects. And she started trusting my manlyhood, right? She started trusting that. So she started going along for my ride. You know what I mean? But she added to that relationship. I had a great life, but she added to that relationship. And that's the way it should be. You know, I mean, I'm not talking about a man being dominant. You know what I mean? You hear about this, especially in the Mexican community, right? You hear about machismo. You know, I don't like that shit. I don't agree with any of it. You know, a guy should not be dominant over a woman. I think a man needs to be a man, but a man needs to be a man so the woman can feel safe in that relationship. Safe because a woman wants to feel safe. She wants to feel that a man can take care of her in a lot of different ways. Doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take care of her, because, you know, women can take care of themselves. But if it came down, if the shit hit the fan, you're able to do it. And that's what a woman needs to feel. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about, okay? So many people wanted me to go this route where I forget about my family, I forget about all my friends, I forget about, you know, the way I was when I was single, and join their fucked up life. But I was over here. You know what I mean? And I never got married. I never had kids. And the reason why I never got married and never had kids was because I was always aware of the red flags, right? When I saw my life going down this path, I didn't like it, so I would get out and I would go down this path. Sometimes, I mean, I bought into the sunk cost fallacy, and I would try harder and harder in a relationship, but that was the blue pill narrative, because I was trying to make it work. Because I had all these assholes chirping in my ear saying, well, you don't try hard enough. You just give up on people. You just date them and just, you know, find them, fuck them, and flee. You know what I mean? And that was never the case. I would always look for characteristics that I really want. And Corey Wayne taught me to write down all the characteristics that I really wanted in somebody, and then pick the top 10, right? And then pick the characteristics that I don't want in somebody, prioritize those, and make sure that your woman has those, you know. Well, my ex-fiance had the 10 plus. And then at the time, she didn't have any of the negatives, you know. But then over time, and that's why Corey tells you, you know, you got to date at least minimum a year and a half before you start finding out shit, right? And he's right on the money, because at the year and a half mark, I started figuring shit out. I started seeing things, and that's when I found out she was an alcoholic. She had daddy issues. She had, I mean, there was a lot of things that could have really blown up in my face if I had gotten married. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. It's you know, everybody wants you, you know, misery loves company, guys. You know, it's amazing. So everybody wants you to fill in this part of the narrative, but if you're not feeling it, don't do it. Go down this road, man. You know what I mean? And what's gotten me to this point, guys, and I've talked about it, go watch my video on it, is my intuition, that inner voice. Ultimately, what got me out of those fucked up relationships was my intuition and inner voice. I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I can't, you know, I'm not going to do this. This is not what I want my life to be like. And because of the sunk cost fallacy, I wasted a lot of time. I probably should have kept moving more and more. But I was buying into the narrative that everybody was telling me that I give up on people too easy and blah, 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 blah. And not paying attention to what I really wanted to do. And I probably gave up on a lot of opportunity cost. If I had kept moving, you know, instead of buying into that sunk cost fallacy, I probably would have found what I was really looking for, right? But I didn't find that out until I was in my 40s. I mean, I was probably 40 at the time when, you know, I ran into Corey Wayne stuff, and I started writing all that stuff down, and I really started moving forward with it. I didn't buy into it. And then once I bought into it, man, that shit works like a charm. So I'm telling you right now, the red pill shit, it's good, but it's gonna make you a pretty angry motherfucker, man. And I know this from experience. Go with Corey Wayne. Corey Wayne shit is off the hook. I swear by it. And you know what? I'm studying that shit again and again. And that is the shit that I live by. You know what I mean? Because the red pill for a while, you know, when I broke up with my ex, it made me a little bit bitter, you know. In fact, I went red pill, and then I went a little bit black pill, and now I'm back, and the rest of my life is red pill, you know, when it comes to friendships, work, you know, all that sort of thing, because I follow the minimalistic point of view. You know, I'm a minimalist. You know, I don't buy into the corporate world. Nobody wins the rat race, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But when it comes to dating, you know, I don't 100% buy into the red pill philosophy. Because to me, and I know, okay, if you guys red pillers are watching this, you guys are fucking angry, man. You guys are angry. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be angry. You know, I'm still pretty optimistic when it comes to relationships. Do I want to get married? Do I want to have kids? No. Fuck no. I don't see the ROI in it, right, for me at this point in my life. And it's really an age thing. I don't want anybody in my world. You know what I mean? I decorated my house. I did everything the way I wanted. I don't want anybody coming to my house telling me anything different. So, you know what I mean? I'm kind of stuck in my ways. So, you know, just come over on the weekends, man. You know, we can Netflix and chill and do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? But as far as getting married and spending the rest of my life with somebody, I just don't. It's not the top of my priority list. You know, you're gonna have to be a hell of a woman for me. You're gonna have to come with some really skill, right? And you know, I got back into the dating scene lately, you know, and man, I'm just different, man. Again, here I am, different, right? I don't buy into that Instagram bullshit. I don't buy into any of that stuff. So now I just tell chicks, you know, right away, you know, I ask them out. Right away, they think you want to fucking marry them. I don't want to marry you, okay? So I tell them that. I said, look, you know what? I'm not trying to marry you. I'm not trying to any of that. I just want to go out and have a cup of coffee and a nice conversation. See if we like each other. And if we like each other, we can go further from that. You know, right away they say, well, give me your Instagram. You know, we'll exchange Instagrams and this, that. I said, look, I don't do Instagram. You know what? You know, either you give me your phone number or here's my phone number. Give me a call if you change your mind. And that's just who the fuck I am. You know, I'm not, my resume is simple, man. I'm a simple dude. I'm single. I got a fantastic dog that I love. He's my little boy. You know, I got a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I got toys. I have a good time. And yeah, I'm 49 years old, but I don't look it, right? Because I take really good care of myself. So, I mean, either they want this or they don't, man. I really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty about being 49, almost 50 years old, is I don't give a shit anymore. I don't. You can take it or leave it. And that's all there is to it. You know, that's the beauty, man. That's the beauty. If I had had this attitude in my 20s, man, I would have been a lot better off. So those of you who are watching this, who are in your 20s or in your 30s, just don't give a shit, man. Just don't give a shit. Just be like Forrest Gump and just go through life, man. Do your thing. You know what I mean? Forrest Gump had it right. You know, he was like my uncles. You know, I had two uncles that were mentally challenged, but he did it the right way. He did his thing. He did his thing, and good things came to him. You know what I mean? And that's the way you got to do it, right? You got to be positive. You got to go out there into the world, put out your vibe. Become the person that you want to put out there, really. You know what I mean? And start putting that vibe out there. And people are going to feel that vibe, and they're going to come to you. You know what I mean? That's something that I didn't find. I had lost it when I went through my divorce, because divorce, you know, and breaking up and losing everything and building your life back up again, it's a process, man. It's fucked up, dude. It's fucked up. It's the first time I ever contemplated suicide. And if you want to watch that video, go back and watch that video. You know, it's called My Story. But it's a very difficult situation. And there's red pillars out there that I'll tell you. Like Rich Cooper went through pretty much the same shit that I did. You know what I mean? But he had a kid. I didn't, you know. It was a really difficult situation because mine was an alcoholic, and she was a pretty violent alcoholic. And she was a cop. She was an ex-cop on top of that. So she was mean, man. You know what I mean? Like she could get mean. You would know it looking at her, but she could get mean. And that's the thing, man. It was very extremely difficult, you know. But now I'm back into my zone. I'm finding who I really want to be, and now I'm getting back out there and dating again. But it's a completely different world. I feel like I've been in a time capsule for years, right? And it's only been like 5 years because I was dating 5 years ago. And now I'm out into this world, and now it went from, you know, meeting somebody at a coffee shop or at the gym like I did, and now it's like you got to go to Tinder and Bumble and all these, you know what I mean, and have your Instagram, you know, 100, and, you know, be able to sell yourself. And I already told you guys I'm not a marketing guy, so you can take this or leave it. I really don't give a shit. But the one thing that I did do was I took good care of myself. During COVID, I lost 30 pounds. I'm working out. I'm busting my ass. You know, I got shredded. I got down to 10% body fat, man. And, you know, just taking care of yourself, looking young. I don't color my hair. This is my real hair. You know, just, you know, putting moisturizer on. You know, a lot of people will say, you know, that's maybe, what do they call it? I can't even think of the word, man. But, you know, a lot of people used to say, man, moisturizing, guys don't moisturize and this, that. Fuck yeah, dude. If you want to look young, you do. You know what I mean? So don't pay attention to all that shit. Be different. Embrace that difference. And just you be you, man. Put yourself out there. You be you, and you do your thing. The other thing that I've noticed about myself, man, I know I'm 30 minutes here, but I really wanted to talk about this. The other thing that I've noticed about myself the older I get is like people get on my fucking nerves. I don't know if that happens with you guys, but the stupidity out there is just unparalleled. It's just crazy, man. I'm out there driving or, you know, at the grocery store, whatever, man, and people are just like looking around, you know what I mean? They're like this thing right here has made people stupid. You know what I mean? People are stupid anyway, right? I'm convinced, you know, 75% of the world, you know what I mean, has an IQ under of 100, right? And it shows. I don't know if it's where I live. I don't know anything about that, right? But I've noticed, and I always wondered, why in the hell, dude, am I getting so annoyed with people? You know, I don't like small talk. I want to get to the point, you know, and that I'm getting more like that the older I get, right? Let's get into a meeting. Let's knock it out, and let's move on with our lives, right? And I'm kind of like that in dating. I'm like that in friendships. I'm like that, you know what I mean? Like if you don't have something of value that catches my attention, I just don't want to do it. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. You know, so I only hang out. And see, that's the big thing, right? That you guys have to find out about yourself, right? You got to figure out what gives you the biggest ROI, right? Return on investment in your life. And that's where you need to really focus your energy. And what I've learned, I bought into that sunk cost fallacy again, guys, you know, with friendships, relationships, all that kind of shit. I kept giving and giving and giving, and I wasn't getting a big return on investment. So therefore, I was spinning my wheels and wasting my time. Now, I don't waste my time. I go grocery shopping on Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning when there's nobody around and I can get in and out quickly, right? Walmart threw me a curveball because they moved shit around. I used to be able to get in and out in 15 fucking minutes. Now I'm walking around like a freshman in high school. You know, it's just crazy, right? But the thing is that I still go in, I do my thing, and I get out. I put on a headphone, I listen to music, and I'm beating to my own drum. I go to the gym. I go in there. I don't go in there for happy hour. I don't go in there to meet girls. I don't go in for any of that shit. I go in to get a pump, a workout, and that's it. You know what I mean? When I go to work, like, you know, I work 90% from home, right? But when I do go into the office, I have an agenda. I have a list that I write out. I knock out that list and I get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste time. You know, I mean, I walk around my neighborhood and, you know, I love my neighbors. They're great, but I don't like small talk. You know, I don't like that small empty talk. Let me put it that way. Oh, how's your day? Oh, the weather's nice. I don't have time for that shit, man. You know what I mean? Tell me something that's going to catch my attention. Tell me something that's going to, you know, that, you know, like if somebody's, like I have neighbors that are sick, you know, hey, how's your husband doing? You know, is he doing okay? You know, and we'll have conversations about that. I care about that kind of stuff, right? But, you know, if you're going to sit there and talk to me and say, oh, you know, tell me about your fucking life story and about things that don't really matter, you know, what you ate for lunch today or some shit like that. I don't have time for that. That's why I got off fucking Facebook. You know, people were putting pictures of their lunch on that shit, man. I was just like, dude. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, man. Instagram is the same fucking thing, dude. You know, I mean, I surround myself, like on my Instagram account, it's, you know, and I may keep it, I don't know, man. It's a lot of working out. It gets you pumped, you know, and that's what I like. You know, and then I have low riders, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because I have a 1990 Mustang convertible that's a low rider. And, you know, I set it up like Menace to Society. And because that's, I mean, you know, some people like James Bond. I like that movie, Menace to Society. I was kind of a, you know, I ran with a lot of gangsters, and that's just, you know, but I made a promise to a friend of mine that I would buy a car like that and set it up like that. And so, you know, I have that. So I have, like, you know, lowrider cars, and I mean, that shit, but I can only look at it for so long, you know? It's like TikTok, man. My ex-fiance used to look at that shit all the time. I used to go to the gym and I would come home and she was still looking at TikTok. I was like, dude, what the fuck is on TikTok? So I got on there for a little bit, and some of the shit's funny. You know, it's I don't know. I think the majority, I would say 95% of it's stupid as fuck. But, you know, you get like Michael Rappaport or Bill Burr or, you know, Kevin Hart or something. Yeah, they're pretty fucking funny, you know what I mean? I saw one with John Daly the other day, man. It was fucking hilarious, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't mind that, you know, it's not a big deal, but I'm just not one of those guys, you know what I mean? I'm like, I know my age now, you know what I mean? I'm 49 years old. I'm proud to be 49 years old. My 40s were the best fucking years of my life. And you know what? I'm gonna embrace that shit, man. And if I run into young girls, like I asked out a girl the other day that was 29 years old. She's like, well, you know, hit me up on Facebook. And, you know, and I was like, you know what? Just, you know what? Here's my number. Just call me when you're ready. That's all there is to it. You know? But you know what? Being different, it's the beta male that would have looked her up on fucking Instagram and all that shit. I'm not that guy. So be different. Be different, guys. Go out there, be different, and be the man. Be the man that you want to be. Don't let anybody tell you different. All right? I'm going to get out of here. It's been 40 minutes. Really wanted to talk to you guys about that. Missed you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Later.